opportunity.
Absolutely.
And so you'll see it on the new season of Southern Charm. I haven't really figured out how to talk about it, but I, like about a year and a half ago, just kind of stopped drinking. Everything in my life, like work, filming, all these meet and greets, were drinking based. And what's funny is I called my dad and he's like, well, yeah, nothing bad's happening, but like nothing good's happening either. Like you're kind of, yeah, you're doing fine, like you're making money, your company's doing well, but you could be so much further if you had this extra time in your life. And I didn't see it until like I just started to work on that a little bit, and all of a sudden the company started making more money. Like all of a sudden my partners trusted me enough to open this store in Nashville, and I started to quantify it. Like I was making more money the healthier I got, and I don't know, that's just been a huge change. And so yeah, now when these opportunities do present themselves, I'm able to say yes. I'm able to hop on a plane and go. I'm not like missing phone calls in the morning or something, and that's just kind of part of my growth. And you know, you'll see this season, like surprisingly it's very intimidating to other people in my life, and once again they're not very accepting of changes that I'm making in my life to try to be, you know, grow up and try to get ready to be, you know, a dad one day and stuff like that. So you have a whirlwind of a season to watch again, but that's kind of like that opportunity thing, because I hear from people in my life a lot, like, how did you get that? You know, that's what they love to say. Like, I was just hosting the Paralympics last week in Paris and got a lot of like, well, how did Craig get that? And you're like, you don't just get stuff, you know, like that started back at BravoCon when I was doing extra panels with the Paralympics that other guys were not saying yes to. So like, I think it's just, again, putting one foot in front of the other, and you're not going to see immediate results, but the stuff does add up and it is rewarding. And so, yeah, that's, you know, so you just, the people in your life are going to be very interesting as you work on yourself. But those opportunities, you know, when a door opens, you have to be ready to walk through them. So that's at least been what I've been working on for a little over a year. So.
Well, you're doing a fabulous job.
Trying
so,
to, you know, we mess up, but, you know.
But you keep going.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Come up with the next idea. So to that point, let's talk a little bit about the store and the product line, and tell us about finding inspiration for your collections, and a little bit about the store. What will people find when they walk in the door of the store?
Yeah, when Sewing Down South was born, all the designs were based on places I had lived and traveled, and that was mostly just coastal areas. So our design was very coastal chic dominated. As the company grew and time went on and I started to date a girl that only has black and white in her life, I realized that we were leaving out a lot of the population. But you know, you can't do everything at first. And so through our growth, we've been trying to appeal to different demographics in different areas in the country, and our collaboration with Kroger has helped that. You'll see down at the Kroger Marketplace in Thompson Station, actually, our What's Wrong With My Baking line is about to come out. So our whole kitchen line with like Dutch ovens and bakingware, that'll be down there. But you know, it took years to get there. Amanda's really good at keeping me grounded. Like, I wanted to do candles, but we had to make the pillows successful first. And then before I did kitchen stuff, I had to make the candles successful. And so the designs are still coastal chic, but what we're learning in Nashville is that doesn't sell. And so we rushed the Nashville store because I was about to go to Europe with Paige's family for like a month. We had signed this lease because it was about to, like, that spot would have been taken by someone. We were filming at the time, so you'll get to see a little bit of me and Shep in Nashville. And if they cut that, at least you know we filmed here, we filmed at Edley's, we filmed on Broadway. And I think we have to learn a new market in Nashville. And so that's what we've been doing over the last few months. And you'll see those items start to come into the store. But we've got pillows and candles. Holiday's gonna be really fun here. So we're leaning more into Nashville merchandise. In Charleston, when people buy something, they don't necessarily care that it says Charleston. They just like to know that they bought it in Charleston. We're seeing in Nashville, people want a little more of that Nashville theme. So it's just being flexible, and I get to say what I want, what I think we need, and then our director of operations has to go figure out how to do that. So it's a pretty hectic place to work, but I think it's I think it's fun. We're up to like 25 employees now at Sewing Down South, so we never know what's next.
So, if you were going to give advice to someone who was looking to start their own business or be an entrepreneur from a marketing perspective, what's the best initiative to conceive of and build a brand?
Yeah, so there's two things here. The first thing is we only started the company, we started Sewing Down South with no money. So something that I didn't know you could do that Jerry, my partner, knew about, excuse me, is we would basically sell a pillow and we'd collect the money from that pillow and then we'd go have the pillow made and then we'd ship that pillow. I didn't know that that was a thing, but partnering with someone that knows business did. And so if you do have a good idea, there are ways to get payment terms where you don't have to pay for 60 or 90 days, and by that time your money's already collected from the customer. So we make all our pillows in Beaufort, South Carolina, and at the time we were having your pillows made. Ran into something when Hurricane Dorian hit, and I went on Instagram and I said, and this leads into my next point, is I said all proceeds from our Bohemian lobster pillow will go to Hurricane Dorian relief. Well, up until that point, the business wasn't that busy. Well, that night when you make a sale on Shopify, it makes a cash register sound. And I was eating dinner with my parents and my phone just started to go off. And they were like, "Oh, what's that?" And I was like, "Oh, it means we just sold a pillow. I'll put my phone on silent." And they were like, "No, leave it on." And so all night we got to hear like my phone go off and off and off. And that was our first big night. We ended up that weekend we sold like $60,000 worth of pillows for Hurricane Dorian. The problem is we didn't have any of those pillows made because we weren't carrying inventory yet. And so then you'll hit a level in and it took like 8 weeks to get people their pillows. And I was like, guys, the story on Southern Charm is already that I can't finish anything that I start. Oh, these people bought pillows, and now we're not even sending them with the pillows. We're only sending pillow covers. And so that was some learning steps. But what I discovered is, and when I tell people that don't have a platform like Bravo, if you just say, well, 1, 2, you can't just say it, but if you just put like 10% or 5% of your proceeds of a certain object or a certain day of sales to a local charity, there's local news shows like on Sunday mornings that hold slots for people doing good in the community. And so by just giving a little bit of your sales to charity, it opens up so many doors. It also, that was my whole goal of having a successful company, is to be able to be charitable like that. It'll make you feel good, it'll get you goodwill in the community, but you'll also get this media outreach that you wanted without that. So whether it's your animal shelter or a local orphanage, whatever it may be, breast cancer, that's my best advice. And all of those morning shows at the local news stations will gladly have you on.
Okay, so as the expert in the room, and we're at the home show, so what home gadget or tool should every homeowner have?
I say I know a little about a lot of things, but I don't know a lot about one special thing. My ADD takes me all over the place, and that's why partners is so important, because I'll get highly passionate about whatever tool it may be, but then forget about it in a month. I got page one actually. There's on Amazon you can find everything now, which good or bad, but there's like I got her this little pink toolkit and she uses it all the time, and it just comes with 7 basic tools: a power drill, a hammer, and then different attachments for the power drill. So I think all-in-one kit for your house is great. But I seem to find new tools every time I come to a home show, and I'm one of the easier sales.
You're going to have to look around and make the rounds today.
There's so much great inspiration here, and I remember the first home show that I went to, I had just finished part of my house, and I was like, man, I wish I'd come here first, So now I buy the steam mops and different snacks, and I'm a sucker for the performances. We used to love infomercials growing up, but my mom would never let me buy anything from them. She's like, we do not need that knife, Craig. And I was like, but we do, it'll change our life.
Well, when did you buy your first sewing machine? When was that?
So it was during, sometimes I relate time to the show. It was during our 5th season, so I was like 28, 29. It was $199 on Amazon. It was a Brother 2-in-1 machine, so it embroidered and it sewed. And what I'm trying to do now is break down the barrier of entry into crafting, like sewing. A lot of people think in order to sew, you have to buy a sewing machine, and that could be pretty intimidating to people. But there are actually some great starter sewing machines that I still have mine that do everything you need for a pretty affordable price. So we're actually working on a sewing machine now with a company, and the goal is to have that price point pretty low so that anyone can start sewing that wants to.
Pretty amazing. Okay, so what celebrity would you most like to collaborate with in whatever capacity made sense?
I mean, I've always said I want to be the male Martha Stewart, so I think Martha Stewart would be
you have not met
I
her
haven't.
yet.
I don't think she knows who I am.
It won't be long.
But her team at Martha Stewart Company is really nice, and they'll send me stuff and always be like, good luck on your journey to becoming, Miss Martha. But her documentary is incredible. I had no idea her story and how much she overcame and having a non-supportive husband and stuff like that. So I think doing a collaboration with Martha Stewart would be great. I think when her and Snoop Dogg collaborate, I think it's the funniest collaboration ever. And so, yeah, I would definitely have to
you
pick
have
her.
Shep.
Yeah, I'm stuck with Shep, so who knows where he is at any given time. So
Okay, so what is what is the best home purchase? So another gadget question for under $100.
best home purchase for under $100.
The toolkit, obviously, but
Yeah, I'm a sucker for cookware and gadgets and stuff. That was my first love. So in 7th grade, no matter who you were or what sport you played, everyone took home ec and tech ed. And so half the year you would learn how to cook, and then half the year you learned how to sew. And cooking was my first love. And so I'd go home every night and watch Alton Brown on Good Eats and Emma Lagasse. And
do you see yourself ever getting into the cooking realm and
we're
being
trying to work on a cookbook right now. That's the next goal. I think that would be really fun and rewarding. The idea right now is to have people in my life teach me one of their favorite recipes. So Paige's family is Italian, so I could have her mom teach me something. I could have my mom teach me something that's special. Shep doesn't cook, so I can't have Shep, but Cam would do it. So just fun kitchen gadgets. I guess that's not a great answer to that, but I'm a pretty random person. We have bees in the backyard now.
Well, I was going to ask you, because in our interview he talked about gardening and keeping bees. Tell us how that's going.
Probably seeds and soil. That's what I would buy with the money. I love gardening, and I've been told by the many therapists that they try to force us to talk to in the reality TV world. One was you have a need to create. That's why you enjoy all of this stuff. So apparently creation is fun for me. But yeah, we have. I have to say this to everyone because if they cut this, I'm going to be so mad. But Paige and I went to a beekeeping class, a beekeeping school this year on camera. But we didn't get in a fight, so if they cut this beekeeping scene, I'm gonna be so mad because we're in beekeeping suits, and it leads to us getting bees. So we have Lady Coatsworth and her family as our bees in the backyard. So Paige puts on her little suit, and we go check on our hives, and we'll be giving honey away as gifts this season, hopefully. But yeah, just spending time in the backyard is really special to us, and to see a city girl like Paige come down and enjoy the bees too. So there's always going to be something random that I'm doing, but
Are we turning her into a Southern girl? Is she becoming a Southern girl?
She's fighting. No, I think she'll always be I think a half, a hybrid person is good. We like the speed of this city, but then when we're in Charleston, all those layers come off. Do a lot of swimming in the backyard and just relaxing. She has turtles in the community that will go down and feed, and so Charleston is kind of our zen area, and then New York is the busy place. And fortunately with travel and technology these days, it's easy to split time. So the question is the truth is we have no idea where we're going to end up. We have no idea where we're going to raise our kids, and that can be stressful, and that has weighed on us a little bit. But you have to ask yourself, do you let the the unknown of the future and like the fear of that, do you let that ruin your happiness today and your present? And that's just a decision you have to make, because, you know, I don't know, it does get tough, but we have made the decision that even though we have no idea what 4 years from now looks like, we're happy with today, and we just try not to put, you know, too much emphasis on figuring out next year and working on today. The producers hate that. It doesn't really work for them.
I was going to say, is this going to be a plot line this season?
Anytime you hear about where we live, trust me, it is not us talking about it. No, fortunately, they moved on to other stuff.
Well, tell us what your favorite moment or episode of Southern Charm. What season is coming up?
10.
10.
So
several years.
Several years
to choose from. What's your favorite moment, good or bad, from the show?
Well, I'm happy I can watch now. I didn't watch for several years. And a lot of that is because Sierra actually, our friend from another show, told me, she was like, Craig, you're usually right about whatever you're talking about, but it always gets lost in your delivery. You know, she's like, if you weren't screaming so much and like acting like a crazy person, you know, your message would come through a little better. And so that's been part of my journey of not losing my message in the delivery. And that obviously went back to one thing that I used to do a lot. And so now I can watch, and like last season I watched, so I was like, this is a pretty funny show. But the microscope was also not on me. No, my favorite moment ever was in season 1, where we really had no idea what we were doing. There's a moment when Thomas goes to wake Shep up, and like no one told Shep they were coming, like he wasn't on his like set list, like he had no idea that cameras were on his way to his house. And they like bang on the door and he opens it and he's just so disheveled, and you could tell he's so annoyed and like, why are the cameras here? And Thomas tells him something that happened with Catherine, and Shep's like, this all happened today? And he's just so disheveled. And it's one of like the purest moments, so that was my favorite scene.
Awesome. Okay, and when is the show back on this one?
So NBC gives me a very long leash, but they sell the exclusives for announcing that stuff.
Oh,
but
okay, sorry.
Patricia has decided to go on Instagram, and she said December. I don't know if that's right, but Patricia is telling people December, so.
Well, we'll let Patricia put it out there. We won't get in trouble here at the home show in Nashville.
Patricia kind of does whatever she wants. She's funny. I always get a trip. Like if I see she posts something, I always start laughing. It's like, how many rules did you break?
She just doesn't seem like a social media maven, but
she loves it. It
has become one.
Yeah, it keeps her young, and it's really fun to film with Patricia and have her in my life and be friends with her. And she was one of the only cast members to come to the opening and stuff. So Patricia's been very supportive of Sewing Down South after everything that happened. So.
Wonderful. Okay, I think we're going to segue into letting you all ask some questions. You want to take this?
Yeah, so if anyone has any questions, raise your hand and I'll come and we can get